Hey everyone, it's Jessica here, back with another scrapbooking process video, and this is my fourth video, and this is a scrap lift for Christy's Beautiful Life, which is from the 30 Days of Sketches Facebook group. This is the sketch that I'm going to be scrap lifting. It's got some lovely mixed media. It's got some embellishments along the side. It had some stars in the photo, but I'm choosing to use a balloons cut file. It's actually a Paige Evans cut file, and you can get that online in her Etsy shop, and I can put a link below in the description for you. And so I went ahead and cut my balloons out with my Cricut, and that's all ready to go. I'm not going to back the cut file. I'm just going to leave it as is today. I also am using 2 sheets of paper here because the sketch had some writing along the edges. But I'm not going to do the writing. I'm just going to do a border instead and maybe just doodle a little bit along the edges. So here I'm preparing my mixed media with some white gesso. This is the Vicki Boutin white gesso, which I love, but it doesn't have to be the Vicki Boutin kind. You can use any kind of gesso. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm just preparing my paper so that it doesn't warp too bad whenever I add all my mixed media to it. I really probably don't need it since I'm going to be experimenting with some acrylic paint today, but I just didn't want to risk my paper warping up too badly if I added too much to it. So I wanted to do a couple different things on it, and I just wanted to be prepared. Plus, I like using the white on colored paper because I like the effect that it gives. It just adds a little bit extra. The paints that I'm using is just some cheap apple barrel paints from Walmart. The blue one is Caribbean and the yellow one is bright yellow. And I'm just watering it down just a little bit so that it spreads easier. I don't want it super thick on my page. And I'm just painting my lines with a thick paintbrush. I'm going to go in with the blue here, and then we'll go in with the yellow beside it. And you'll see I get my little brush out and add a little bit more water to the edge there. I'm going to do some speckles and splatters with the blue in a minute after I get the yellow on. So here I'm just taking the yellow. I'm going to water it down just a little bit, but I'm going to use my spray bottle because my water is now tinted a little bit blue, so I don't want to mix those. So just watering it down, then I'm just going to paint it on here in between the blue lines. And you can see my white gesso is underneath. I like the effect that it gives, and you can see the difference where the gesso is versus where it's not and how vibrant the paint is on top of the gesso. So it definitely adds a little bit more to a page. Here I'm just doing my splatters with my paintbrush. I'm going to move the background out of the way here so I can heat this up just a little bit with my heat gun. I don't want to heat it up too much because I don't want my paper to warp from the heat either. So just a little bit, just to dry that up a little so I can continue to work on it. And then I bring out this stencil. I don't know if you saw the packaging. A lot of my packages, my embellishments and stencils have little clips on them because I use a clip it up storage unit where I hang everything. But I'm using some Nouveau paste. This one is the Nouveau Embellishment Mousse, and it's in the color Snowstorm. I like it, but after a while they do tend to dry out a little bit. I've heard if you put a piece of clear wrap between the lid and the jar itself, or like a sandwich baggie, it does help with that, but I don't bother with it. I'm just moving it around here. I'm totally random at where I'm putting these dots. I don't really care if they're all perfect. I'm just, putting them basically where my mixed media is. I'm sticking to that area because I just want to build a little bit and elevate that. And I stay out of that middle part because that's where my photos are going to go, so I don't need anything there. Just moving the stencil around, getting it on top of all my mixed media and building up my layers. I love this particular embellishment mousse. It's very, very pretty in person. Just going in along the side, adding just a little bit more over here. And then I clean my stencils right away so that that doesn't dry on there. If you're at a crop or something, you can clean them with a baby wipe and some water. But if you have access to water, that's usually the best way. And there I'm putting my background strip back in there. Coming in with some embellishments here. These are just all my birthday stash embellishments that I pulled in that I think will match. Bringing in my cut file again. There's my photos. I've got 2 photos here from my son's birthday party last year in 2020. He just loved opening the gifts. Bringing in this little toothpick. It's actually a cupcake topper. I believe I bought these in those lovely Target dollar bins. You know, the ones where you walk in the door and they get you every time. And I'm looking at these balloons and I'm thinking, oh, I wish I could make that work with my layout. I love those little balloons and the one that says birthday boy, but I don't think that I can get it to line up perfectly on my cut file, so I end up scratching that idea in the end. I go ahead and adhere my cut file with some micro glue dots, and I'm just kind of placing them here and there, nothing major. I don't mind if it pops up off the page a little bit, so it doesn't really have to be perfect for me. I'm going to put my photos over top of it anyhow, so it really doesn't matter if the entire thing is stuck down. Here I'm just placing my photos. I've already matted them with just some smooth white cardstock. And I love this Celebrate on here, so I'm going to use that as my title. And then you'll see my 1-year-old come in here. I'm actually holding him as I'm scrapbooking. He always comes over to me and he wanted mama, so I often end up scrapbooking with him on my lap or in my arms. I'm sure a lot of you can understand that. So you'll see his little hand in here trying to grab my stuff. He's my little scrapping buddy. And there he wants my paper. It's funny, he just turned 1 and I'm scrapbooking my other son's 2nd birthday. They're exactly a year and a half apart. Here I'm moving this little happy birthday sign around. I really, really want to make this work. And in the end I do, but I move it around quite a bit on this page to where I like it. And then I really like the silver glitter stars in this pack of embellishments, but I couldn't see using them all on this layout when I could just cut a whole bunch on my Cricut because I wanted to have a ton of them, kind of like confetti. So I just went and cut a bunch of little stars with my Cricut and some silver glitter paper, and I'm going to put a lot of them on here just like confetti. I bring in my little party hat that I loved. I thought that yellow would look great with this layout. And then here I'm actually covering someone up that's in the background of this photo. It's not that I don't like the person, but I'm just going to cover them up. They don't need to be there. It kind of takes the attention away from that, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that there. And then I'm just going to stick down all those little confetti stars here with some micro glue dots again. Sorry, that is my dog barking in the background. I believe that UPS just pulled in. I'm sure many of you can understand that. So just continuing to stick down all my little confetti stars. And I do end up going and cutting some more on my Cricut because I just add so many and I like them so much. But if you think that you can't do mixed media, this is about one of the easiest ones that you can do. I highly recommend trying it. It's just so much fun. It adds so much to your page. And honestly, when I do mixed media, I don't use a lot of embellishments because sometimes it takes away from the mixed media. So it's a good way to add some feature and dimension to your pages, but not use a ton of embellishments. So here I'm going in and I can't see wasting an entire sheet of paper just to put that border on. So this is what I do. I do this a lot. I just go and I use my glass mat, my Tim Holtz media mat. I cut right on it, just like a cutting mat. And I leave about an inch of space around the border, and I just use my ruler and X-Acto knife and I cut out the middle. And then the middle I can use for something else later. I'm using my ATG gun to tape down the border, and you can see it messes up on me a little bit here, so I just mess with it and get that rolling again. Sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with this, but in the end it always works, and it's definitely one of my favorite tools. So I just finished adhering my border here. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down so it's all together. And make sure that's all stuck down. And then I'm just going to go in with my Sharpie marker. It's a really thin, fine tip Sharpie. I'm just going to put my doodled line on the edges instead of doing that journaling like the sketch had. So it's just really quick and simple. It's easy. Just add something a little bit extra to the page. The only thing left to do is go in and stamp my date on the bottom left corner. I'm using my Close to My Heart black stamping ink and my date stamp. And then I use the Close to My Heart stamp pad cleaner to clean off my stamp. And that's it. That is my finished layout. I'll show you the close-ups here. This is a super fun one, and again, I encourage you to try the mixed media. It's so fun and adds a lot to your page. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stop back for some more, and thank you so much for watching.